News, government has called for calm amid the cholera outbreak in Hammanskraal in the city of Tshwane. Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni gave a progress report on Operation Vulindlela earlier this afternoon. 23 people have died so far, one from the Free State, to take the number of deaths in the country 24. The cause of the outbreak has still not yet been identified, but the minister, that's Ntshavheni, says water is safe to drink. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila was at that briefing that took place a little bit earlier and is joining us now back from the Aviwe. Good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. Minister in the Presidency Ntshavheni talking about cholera outbreak, assuring us that the problem of Hammanskraal is limited there. The rest of our water is safe to drink.
The gist of the conversation there from the minister in the presidency, as you understand, a lot of South Africans scrambling to the shops to go and buy bottled water. She sort of put them at ease, suggesting that this issue is not a national one and it is only limited to Hammanskraal. It's sort of dispelling the earlier statement that was made by the Northwest Provincial Department of Health, which was actually dispelled itself just some 30 minutes ago by the National Department of Health, suggesting that that earlier statement that suggested 2 more cases from the Northwest were reported is actually a bit inaccurate. Those 2 cases also emanate from Hammanskraal, as although they might reside in the Northwest, those people were actually diagnosed from Hammanskraal. So the toll that we got in the last 24 hours is that 24 people have been recently diagnosed with cholera. That's 24 new cases in the last 24 hours and no deaths. But let's take a listen to the minister in the presidency just on her utterances around the safety of drinking water around the country.
I need to assure South Africans that the outbreak of cholera is restricted to the area of Hammanskraal. It's not the outbreak of cholera across the country, and there's a particular area even in the Hammanskraal area. And that the water in South Africa is safe to drink. There's been a rush to drink, to get water across bottled water. People are buying bottled water. There is no need for such a rush. There is quality of water in South Africa. It's assured safe for drinking, and the Mahalis Water and Rand Water, who provide water in Gauteng, have communicated such. The Minister of Health tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock will be here to brief the media around the cholera outbreak and how it's being managed, the cholera outbreak in the Hammanskraal, Kanana area, and how that is being managed. If we succeed, the dairy management, he'll be joined by the Minister of Water. If we do not succeed, the Minister of Water and Sanitation will then brief the nation on Thursday about what we are doing about the water situation across the country, but specifically the blue drop water and the green drop water status on water assurity.
Aviwe, the mayor has also been talking, that's the mayor of Tshwane, because we do understand that the task or the responsibility, or if you may, the function of making sure that wastewater treatment plants are in tip-top shape, they're working properly, lies with the municipality. What did the City of Tshwane Mayor Silas Brink say?
Well, now that the point, Bradan, where they're roping in different research institutes such as the CSIR to actually look at what the exact problem is, because still at this stage the source of this cholera outbreak is still not known. For example, we do know that there were test samples that were taken at that Rooiwal water treatment plant, and the suggestions are that that water has not been contaminated, I beg your pardon, by cholera. So that water that supplies Hammanskraal is not the problem. Contrary to what I actually saw on the ground today in Hammanskraal, where residents actually took videos and showed me water that was actually seeping with feces that coming out from the taps. But it's a myriad of issues that has been brought about by this cholera outbreaks. For example, we know while there are water tankers crisscrossing Hammanskraal, there are also those water tankers that are now selling the water to the people, which the mayor condemned in the strongest possible form. But they're still trying to look at exactly what the source of this outbreak is, because they suggest while it may not come from the actual tap water, there may be dams and other food sources that may be bringing on this. Let's take a listen to the mayor of Tshwane.
We've called in the assistance of the CSIR. The acting COO also mentioned other institutions, including the Water Institute of South Africa. And there was another, the medical... MRC is on board. MRC, the Medical Research Institute, Medical Research Council. So the important point is not simply to give up, because if cases are rising, then we obviously haven't determined the source, and we must check whatever expertise. Somebody said to me, well, you live in the city with the most research institutes in the country, and we are determined to tap into that resource and to have them assist us to say, this is what you're doing right, this is what you're doing wrong, this is where we can help correlate results. We're certainly not giving up. Let me just also say that water is one possible source. So drinking water from streams, baptizing or swimming in natural water sources, which is very common in our communities. It's not a way out thing, it happens every day. The handling of food, and this was raised sharply by the Hammanskraal ward councillors to say, you've got so many informal food stalls around Temba and various other parts of Hammanskraal.
Listening to Silas bring there, I'm thinking we can point fingers everywhere. We can say it's not in the water only, we can say it's in the informal traders, how they're handling food. The fact is people are dying. Well, thankfully in the last 24 hours, nobody has died, although there were 24 new cases in Hammanskraal, as you said. But you have to find the source of this and stop it.
The other fact, it's not known what the actual source is. So this pointing of fingers and killing, for example, it's not helping at all.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to a different topic now around diplomatic immunity that came up and with Minister Ntshavheni, Minister in the Presidency. And I guess this is around the BRIC summit that's coming in August and the expected participation or not in person of Russia's President Vladimir Putin.
Yes, that's, of course, the diplomatic immunity granted by the International Relations Minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor, earlier on in the morning, granting those that will be participating both in that ministerial meeting that's supposed to happen early June, as well as the BRIC summit themselves, granting, of course, that the diplomatic immunity to those people coming into the country. And, of course, the minister and the presidency had to expand on the reasoning behind this. She suggests that it's not only targeted at the Russian diplomats and the delegates that will be coming here, but the concerns also arose from countries like China, countries like India, wanting to know for their particular safety. If they are to come to South Africa, nothing will happen to them. And in fact, the extension was made out to the rest of the country president, suggesting that while they have not confirmed as yet, President Putin, the Chinese president, not confirming as yet if they're coming, they are more than welcome to come into the country. Some of those utterances, of course, made by the minister and the presidency. This at the backdrop of the DA itself heading to courts, suggesting that if President Putin is to come to South Africa, he must be arrested. I want you to take a listen to that conversation by the minister and the presidency.
It's a standard practice when you're hosting international conferences, international summits, where you've got delegates and you give them immunities, the same that we afford immunity to ambassadors and members of the diplomatic corps. So you need to provide them with immunity so that they can be free to participate in your country without a worry about the laws and all these other things that you are confronted with your country. Is what we call diplomatic courtesies that are being extended, and there's nothing sinister about it. Whether the Russians wanted some sort of assurances, actually it's the other countries that were in Russia that wanted assurances. The Chinese were there, they wanted assurances that their delegations as they come, they'll be treated with the right courtesies and be given the right courtesies. And that is the nature of the game when you host such conferences of the magnitude of the BRICS. You'll see next year we are hosting the G20 summit as we take over the chairperson of the G20. The same immunity will be provided because it's the courtesies that we provide continuously. In terms of the attendance of President Putin of the BRICS summit, I cannot say now that whether he's going to attend or not. Similarly, I cannot say President Xi will attend or not, President Lula will attend or not. So when we do the confirmations of the guests who have received invitations or who will have to come, we'll then announce who have accepted to participate physically in South Africa. But we are hoping that all the presidents of the BRICS countries will be in South Africa.
Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, the minister in the presidency there, wrapping up that update from Aviwe Mtila.